Hi friends, Michelle here from Halfway Homestead, and we have a snow day today. So first snow day of the season, and I'm so excited. I love snow days. I teach first grade at our local elementary. I love teaching. I love all my first graders, but guys, I love a snow day. And so I'm trying to fix my apron here. So I wanted to show you what I'm doing today on this snow day. And yes, my kitchen is a disaster. That's one of the things I need to do today, but quite frankly, I've been doing other things. So first I want to show you my apron. Can you see that? Have a little pocket. I started this in November during Thanksgiving break, and then I finished it during Christmas break. Last summer, my husband and I went to an auction, and I bought this piece of vintage fabric, and look at that, it has little chickens on it. And then this brown plaid was also there, and so I made myself a lined apron, and I love it. I did pick out a pink ribbon for my straps. I cannot stand sewing a tube for a strap and then having to turn it right side out. I hate that task in sewing. So whenever I make something that has straps, I almost always use ribbon. Although I typically use the ribbon that has little lines on it. I think it's called gross grain. This one is not that, and it is slick, and so my tie up here isn't wanting to really stay. So I tied a knot in it, and that'll work. So anyway, let's get started. So first thing this morning, after my husband left for work and I had another cup of coffee, I peeled and cubed 2 really big butternut squash, and I'll pop a picture in for you to see them. I found them at Aldi's for 69 cents a pound, and I typically grow my own squash, but we've already used it all. I'm out. So I bought these 2 big, beautiful butternut squash, and I got them cubed up. I put them, let's see, oh, that's not too hot. I put them in the oven for an hour and a half. I have it on 2 sheet trays, and now they are fork tender. And so part of this is going to go into the freezer for another meal later. Some of it's going to go into the soup pot, and I'm going to make butternut squash bisque. And my friend Leanne has been wanting some too, so I'm going to share this with her. My husband is not a big fan of butternut squash bisque, so for supper I'm also going to fix a ham steak, and I'm going to saute some green beans and in a cast iron skillet with some bacon grease and garlic, and that will be our supper with a little bowl of soup on the side. I might roast some Yukon Gold potatoes as well. That way he will have a starch to go with his protein and his veggie. I also have cookie dough that I've had in the freezer. This is a brown butter espresso chip cookie. Whenever I make cookies, I freeze half of it already in little balls, and that way, days like today, I can pull that out. I could cook 2, or I could cook the whole, I think there's 2 dozen in there, maybe 1.5 dozen, but it'll be delicious and just right for my husband and I, because we're the only 2 that live here. We are empty nesters. Okay, something else I'm going to do today, I have sourdough rising. It's on its 2nd rise. So we'll have that sourdough with our supper. I'm going to try something new. Okay. I don't love canned carrots. I love carrots. We eat a lot of carrots. But I want to try freezing some carrots. So these are some carrots I need to get used up. In fact, this one is kind of bendy. I might not use that one. Oh, they're all kind of soft. Well, we'll see. I'm going to peel these. I'm going to cube these. I'm going to blanch them, and then I'm going to flash freeze them. Once they're frozen solid, I'll put them into a Ziploc baggie or a freezer container, and then a few weeks down the road, I'll get them out and use them in something like soup or chicken pot pie, or maybe even just glazed carrots. And I want to see if I can freeze my own carrots. So I love to grow carrots, but that's one problem I run into is I grew all these beautiful carrots, and I like to get those carrots that are the mixed colors, like a purple carrot and a white and a yellow and an orange, but they don't store well. And so I tried canning them. They get really soft because they have to pressure can for so long. And so I'm gonna try freezing them. If this works, then I'm gonna grow a lot of carrots, or at least try to, and then I will have a way to store and use what I grow. Something else I'm gonna do, I went grocery shopping this weekend and got some broccoli, got some cauliflower. And what I like to do when I have time, I don't like to just put this in the refrigerator, okay? I like to take it out of its package, and I like to go ahead and prepare it as if we're going to eat it. There's a yucky one in here. I need to take that out. Okay. And I buy these produce boxes. I forget what they're called. They're by Tupperware. And on the side of the box, it gives pictures of the different fruits and vegetables. And so for broccoli, where's broccoli? Here it is. Broccoli needs to have an open top. So there's a little vent on top. Guys, I'm not sponsored by Tupperware, so sorry. My friend Jennifer Crawley does sell Tupperware, so I'll try to give her a heads up that I've mentioned her in this video. But you can have it all the way open, all the way closed, or half and half. And broccoli needs to be all the way open. So, and I think that determines how much humidity is in the box. So I have one that I'll do for this broccoli. I'll dump this out, put in the fresh, and then I'll put this back up on top. That way I'm rotating my produce. And I'm gonna do cauliflower the same way. And so I will get those ready, and that just helps them to keep longer in the refrigerator. Like I said, there's only 2 of us eating on a daily basis in this house, and we're not big eaters. We love to eat, but we eat small portions. Okay, let's get started with the soup. What else have I got going on? Oh, we're gonna look at seeds too. Okay, so I have, let me move the camera so you can see what I'm doing. All right. Last weekend, I cooked a whole chicken in the crock pot. I was able to save the broth, and I got 2 jars of broth off of that chicken. The other one I used earlier in the week and made a quick weeknight supper. It was just chicken soup, delicious, nice and warm and cozy on a cold night. And so I'm going to use the rest of it here in this butternut squash soup. Now, one thing you can do with your butternut squash is you can just cube it up and boil it in your chicken broth. You don't have to roast it in the oven. I prefer the flavor of it roasted in the oven because it gets these little charred bits. And then, to me, it's just really delicious in the soup. Okay, so in my pot, I've got, that was like probably 1.5 quarts of chicken broth. I'm going to add some garlic powder. Not a whole lot, about 1/2 teaspoon, okay? I'm going to add some onion powder, about the same amount. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of turmeric, just for the added benefit, the nutritional benefit of turmeric. That's probably 1/3 of the 1/2 teaspoon. Don't really know what measurement that would be. I don't want to sound like I don't know anything, but I truly don't know what that measurement would be. All right, I'm going to add some black pepper. Turmeric and black pepper work really well together. About the same amount of turmeric and black pepper. That's a 1/2 teaspoon scoop. And so I did about 1/3 of it. I'm going to do about 1/3 of the salt. Same as the black pepper and the turmeric. And this is a chicken bouillon powder I buy at the local Mennonite store. And I'm able to get this in bulk. So I'm going to do a heaping half teaspoon of that. Okay, I'm going to bring this up to a boil. I'm going to add in my roasted butternut squash, just as it is. Probably going to do this whole sheet pan. And look, where it was on the foil, it's even more roasted and charred and delicious. On my sheet pan, I did cover it with foil and sprayed it with just a pan spray so it wouldn't stick. I did not toss the butternut squash in the oil. I didn't salt and pepper it. None of that, because then later, if I wanted to use it for something else, I could. Keep it very plain and basic. That way, the application can be whatever later. Okay, I'm going to move this dirty sheet pan out of the way. All right, like I said, I'm going to bring this up to a boil. Whoops. And then I will take my stick blender and I will blend it up till it's smooth and creamy. We will add some heavy cream. I will taste it for seasonings, and I will add nutmeg. Now you could add, instead of using garlic powder or onion powder or garlic powder, you could add onions and garlic to this. We don't really like that. So I prefer to use the powder. All right, we're gonna let that cook. Sourdough is rising, cookie dough is thawing, ham steak is thawing. Let's go ahead and work on our broccoli and our cauliflower. All right, I'm gonna grab a cutting board and the phone, or my camera, and pull you over closer. Okay. There you are. Okay. So, like I said, I'm going to dump out this broccoli. I'm going to put it in this other container right now. And I'm just going to use a paring knife. One reason I do this is it allows me to get rid of these big bulky stems and save space in the refrigerator. It also gives me a chance to look for anything that might be bad. Okay, so some of these pieces are kind of small, but like this one, I'm going to go ahead and cut in half. Because I know that when we eat it, we will want smaller pieces. We eat a lot of broccoli. We like it roasted in the oven with some salt and pepper, olive oil. Sometimes I toss it with Parmesan cheese. Maybe some ranch dressing mix. We like it steamed. We like it in rice. Like it with stir fry. We eat, like I said, a lot of broccoli. We're just recently started eating quite a bit of cauliflower. This last year, I was able to grow cauliflower, and I still have a little bit of that in the freezer. I need to get it out and make sure we're going to like it frozen. Just like we're going to try the carrots, I need to try the cauliflower. Take those little leaves off of there. This was some nice broccoli. But it irritates me when I have to pay by the pound and I get these big chunky stems that we don't like to eat. Which, it's not a total loss because then those go to the chickens. But I wish there was something I could do with those. Okay. Oh, this one had lots of leaves on the inside. This year, I'm going to try harder to grow broccoli. Two seasons ago, I did manage to get, I think, one broccoli stalk. And this last year, I didn't get any broccoli, but I did get some really nice heads of cauliflower. Okay, and oh, there's another yucky one. All right, so just like that, the broccoli is finished. I set the vent to open, and this will go in the refrigerator. And I'm going to do the same thing with the cauliflower, but I'm going to clean off my cutting board real quick. A piece of plastic. My chickens are going to be some happy girls after a while because they're going to get all of those peels, which they don't like as much, and the seeds and the, you know, stringy guts out of the butternut squash. Just like pulling the guts out of a pumpkin, you have to pull them out of the butternut squash too. All right, this is a fairly small head of cauliflower, which I picked out a small one on purpose. We prefer broccoli, but we do like cauliflower too. All right, so same thing. I am going to get this big stem off of here and separate this into smaller florets into my produce container. I wish I could remember what these were called, but I cannot remember. Maybe before I post my video, I'll look it up and put it on the screen for anyone who might be interested. There we go. My friend, well, Jennifer Crawley is the one that sells Tupperware, but my friend Jennifer Dorr is actually having a party right now, and I need to get my order in. I think I'm going to order another one of these produce things. I have them in different sizes. I think I'd like to have another one this size. I think that order is due today, so I need to get on that. Whenever we go to a restaurant nearby with family and my stepbrother is there, he always orders fried cauliflower, and it's just like a deep fried mushroom, but it's cauliflower, so I'd like to try that sometime. All right, I'm going to look up the picture here. What does cauliflower need? Cauliflower needs half open and half shut, and that one is over this way. Okay, cauliflower is ready for the fridge, and it's already cut into florets, so when I am coming home from a busy night or a busy day at school and ready to cook supper, I don't have to go through the task of preparing the cauliflower. All right, clean off my cutting board again. And let's work up these carrots. Oh, I need to get a pot of water boiling so that I can blanch the carrots. Let me do that real quick. That soup is smelling amazing. I can smell those onion powder, garlic powder, the bouillon base, the turmeric. It smells really good. All right, I'm gonna get that boiling. Let's see. Give our soup a stir real quick. Okay, oh, I need a peeler. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to do one and show you, but I don't think you need to watch me peel half a dozen carrots. That can't be enjoyable. Okay, so I got it peeled, cut off my ends. Now this carrot is tiny, so I'm not going to do cubes. I'm just going to do little rounds. Just like that. I'm going to blanch it, so I'll dip it into some boiling water, leave it for probably just, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Then I will strain it out of the boiling water, put it into ice water, drain it, let it dry a little bit, and then I'll flash freeze this. And so we'll see if I can freeze homegrown carrots, which I know these are not homegrown, but we're thinking in the future. All right, our soup is boiling. I'm gonna let that go just a little bit longer, and then we'll use the stick blender. Let's go talk about seeds. Now you're really gonna get a view of my dirty kitchen from here, but that's okay. All right, let me pull the camera up. There we go. Okay, so you can see my scrap bucket back here. That goes to the chickens. All right, so in talking about seeds, I'm gonna shut this blind and see if that helps with some of the glare. Yeah, that helped. Okay, let's turn the light on too. Okay, that helped a little bit. So I'm really contemplating whether or not to grow onions this year. I love to grow onions, but I am not any good at it. Last year and in the years past, I've always bought the little onion, I think it's called an onion set, where it's a little bulb onion. They only get to be about as big as a golf ball. And they're delicious, but they just don't get very big. And so I've been watching a YouTuber, her name is Bree Ellis, and I think she's in Iowa, I think. She grows a variety called Calibra, and it is an intermediate day onion. And so where we live in the country, mid-Missouri, there's people up north that need long day onions, people down south need short day onions. We're in the middle, we need intermediate day onions, and that has to do with the hours of daylight. And so unless I go online and order them from somewhere, I'm not going to be able to get Calibra onions or intermediate day onions. So I do have some onion seeds that I have left from last year or the year before, I think. I got these from, I think it was from Seed Savers. And I cannot find on this packet where it says what day onion it is. So I may try to plant these and just see how it goes. I've already got the seeds, so I'm not out any more money ordering anything. I'm going to turn the soup down just a second. So I may go that route. We don't use a lot of onions. Like I said, we prefer onion powder. But since I've already got them, oh, here's another one that I've got. Sweet Spanish Yellow Utah Jumbo. I don't even know where these seeds came from. I don't know where I got them. So we'll see. But if I'm going to do onion seeds, I really need to do them this week because onions take a really long time. And then I also want to do some leeks. This is a new leek for me. It's called a Bulgarian Giant. And last year I did the American flag leek. Planted about 100 leeks. Ended up getting less than a dozen. Part of that is planter error. It's the first time I've ever planted leeks. I didn't do any research first. I just went out and planted them. This year I know better. And so I'm not sure how soon these need to be planted, but I need to look that up and make sure I do it right this time. I hate to waste money on seeds and then not take the time to do it right. So, but I do want to talk to you real quick about planning when to start your seeds and when to plant your seeds. So we live in mid-Missouri, like I said, and our average last frost date is like the second week of April. We've seen it frost, we've seen it snow even into May, but on average, it's the second week of April. And so I go to my planner, my calendar, look at April, okay? And I typically do not plant the majority of my things before May 1st, just to give myself that buffer of less frost. And so there are some things I'll put out in March. I will put my broccoli and cauliflower out in March. If I plant onion seeds they will go out in March. What else? Cabbage will go out in March. Some of my greens like kale and lettuce and Swiss chard, those will go out in March. But the majority of what I plant, tomatoes and peppers and flowers and green beans, those won't go out until first part of May, maybe even into June. But I wanted to show you how I figure out when to start my seeds. So let's say I'm going to start broccoli, and I need to put my glasses on for this. Okay, so this broccoli says, so very early indoors, which I will do, or you can direct seed outdoors 2 to 4 weeks ahead of last frost date. Okay, I'm going to start them indoors, and let's see, we're going to plan 2 to 4 weeks ahead of frost. I want to be able to put them out, let's say April 1st, okay? So I'm going to go to April 1st. I'm going to go back to March, go 2 weeks. Let's see, the germination time is 7 to 10 days, okay? I want them up and growing in my grow room within 2 weeks before I plant them out. So go back 2 weeks to, it would be March 17th. It's going to take 7 to 10 days to germinate, so I'm going to go back at least 7 days to plant. So that means I need to start my seeds around March 10th. Now, is it set in stone? It has to be that date? No. But it gives me an idea of when I need to do that. So what I will do, and I'm not going to do it right now, but later, I will get a little Post-it note, and I will put on here, I'll just put March 10th. And that tells me somewhere around March 10th, I need to start these seeds. I'll do the same thing with my cauliflower. Let's see. Oh, and this year I'm going to try purple broccoli. I wonder if it's the same. Oh, see, this one says 8 weeks before planting outdoors. So it's very important. You need to read every packet and not just assume all broccolis are the same, or all onions are the same, or all of anything is the same. So I'll have to put a different date on the purple broccoli. One thing I want to try this year is loofahs, because I want to try to make my own kitchen scrubbies. This one says 6 to 8 weeks. Now this one says it can go out, you can direct sow these. So I may try to do it both ways. I may start one or two inside, and then also direct sow a couple and see which one goes better. And that way, maybe through trial and error, I'll at least get one plant. But we'll see. So that's how I decide when to plant, when to start my seeds. And I have another video talking about garden planting and starting seeds. And so if you're interested, feel free to look that up. And then also, maybe when I start these seeds, I'll do a video. Sounds good. All right, let's go back to the soup. All right, we're going to go back in here. Ooh, my carrot water is boiling, and I don't have all of my carrots peeled and cubed yet, so I'm just going to shut that off for a minute. And let's get back to the soup. All right, I'm going to shut this off because I don't want to be using my stick blender in here with it in a rolling boil. I basically wanted to heat the broth, incorporate those seasonings, and bring the butternut squash back up to heat, okay, or to hot. So I'm going to go get my stick blender, and then I'm probably not going to do the stick blender on video just because it's kind of loud and messy, but I'll bring you back after I do the blending. Okay, so I've got it all blended up, and I want to show you how thick and creamy this is. Oh my goodness, look how thick that is. Can you see that? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to add some more broth because that is way too thick. delicious, I'm sure, but way too thick. So this is some chicken broth that I have on my pantry shelf. I made this from chicken parts. Then I pressure canned it and preserved it in jars. And hear that pop? That had a good seal. Okay, so I'm just going to add probably about half the jar. Give this a good stir. Oh yeah. That is smooth and velvety. So butternut squash is naturally sweet. However, those butternuts that I bought were so big. I'm going to taste this for sweetness. And if I feel like it needs a tiny bit, I will probably add a little bit of sugar. All right, let's... Oh my gosh, that is still so thick and beautiful. Okay, let me give it a taste. Super hot. Oh, that is so good. It has a sweetness to it. You can taste the seasonings that I put in that. I am ready to add the nutmeg. I buy nutmeg in whole little kernels. I don't know what they're called. But they're these little, look kind of like an acorn. Okay, but that's a nutmeg nut. And then I just store them in a glass jar. My sister one year, I think for Christmas, bought me a little nutmeg grinder. And so the nutmeg is down here in the bottom. And I can just crank and the nutmeg comes out. You probably cannot see it. Let me bring you down closer. See if you can see the nutmeg coming out. And that way you can get as little or a lot, however much you want. I love this little thing. Okay, let's stir that in. I'm going to add my cream. So I'm going to add, this cream got chunky. It's like not soured chunky, but like buttery chunky. And so I put a little bit of just regular milk in there to kind of rinse out the carton. So all total, that was probably about a cup of cream and milk together. Okay, I'm going to turn this back on because I want that buttery cream to melt and mix in. Oh my gosh. Smells good, tastes good. Now, at this point, this soup cannot be canned or, processed in jars, okay? But I could freeze it at this point. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to save some for myself to eat, and then I'm going to share it. I'm going to give a jar to Leanne. I'm going to give a jar to Leanne's daughter, which happens to be my son's girlfriend. And might have enough to give a jar to the neighbor. We'll see. Be a good day to share some soup. All right, I'm going to taste it. Yes, it's a dirty spoon, so sorry. Double dipping, my house, my rules. Yum. Now adding that nutmeg, I do, after I add the nutmeg and then I tasted it, I do feel like it needs a little bit more salt. So I'm going to put in just a pinch of salt. Give that a good stir. See that cream is kind of melting and being incorporated into the soup, or bisque. I guess because it has cream and because it was blended, it's called a bisque. All right, I'm going to give it one more taste. Yum. That is delicious. All right. So friends, tonight for supper, it is soup and sourdough and ham and green beans, maybe a potato on a snowy day. It has started snowing again. I'm gonna turn the camera so you can see the front window. And I don't know if you can see it coming down. It is beautiful. All right, I'm gonna make some cookies from frozen cookie dough. I'm gonna put the rest of this butternut squash into a Ziploc baggie and get it in the freezer for later use. I'm gonna, good grief, that soup, woohoo, is popping like a volcano. It's shooting soup out. All right, let me get the lid on that. Okay, making a bigger mess than I care to clean up. All right, I'm gonna get my carrots blanched in the freezer, get my broccoli and cauliflower into the fridge, and I might go through my seeds again and start doing some planning and putting those Post-it notes on the packets so I know when I'm going to plant each one. It's that time, guys. It's time to start seeds, and I'm so excited. All right, enjoy your snowy day if you have snow where you're at, and try some of these recipes. Maybe you can watch some of my other videos and try some other things. But either way, thank you for coming. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.